Marriage is good. And people, I wish people would stop lying to people about marriage. I do understand that so many people have seen the bad parts of marriage. I understand that. And I today I was looking at this video that popped up on my screen, and it was saying 6.5 men out of 1,000 are still stupid enough to get married, and the guy was coach something. So it popped up on my screen. Then I went to Google and tried to look up the statistics, and of course that wasn't right. Uh, that's not the statistics. So I don't know where he was getting that 6.5 out of 1,000 men are still stupid. But what he was doing is he's trying to make it seem like the majority of the men are doing okay, all these guys are still they're doing the right thing, they're not getting married, and 6.5 men are still getting married. So if I am married or I'm getting married, I must be one of the 6.5 men that are dumb, you know? And so when I looked at that, in this channel, I'm pro marriage. Now, the reason why I'm pro marriage is marriage has a lot of positive effects on a person. And let me tell you, if you look at the statistics and a study about marriage, marriage has a lot of positive effects on men. Okay. They have done studies where they have seen what happens when a man is married and what happens when a man is divorced. The difference in the health, the difference in mental health, physical health. They've done studies on that and how men that are married are better, they're healthier, they're mentally healthier. Now, let me tell you, there's this movement to tell men not to marry, and I just look at this thing and I just think about how stupid and how you are really there are so many of these guys that are just leading men off a cliff. You're leading men off a cliff. And I understand nobody's going to listen to me because I'm a woman. So they're going to say, oh, well, she's just trying to get women married. And her ulterior motive is she's just trying to, get women married so they can be taken advantage of, men can be taken advantage of. So I do know nobody's going to listen to me. But, I realized that just if you could just listen to me and think about it. And one day when you're in a nursing home, just remember what I told you. Don't forget, because when you're sitting in a nursing home by yourself, please remember the words that I have, I want you to remember and say, oh, that was that lady that told me. And I thought she was off. She wasn't making sense. So, you know, listen, just listen now and just ignore me. But I'm just going to say what I have to say because I have to sleep at night. Men and women should marry. The problem with marriage now and um the problem with marriage now and even back in the day, a lot of people got married and got divorced because people get married for the wrong reasons. A lot of people get married and divorced because they simply don't do the right thing in marriage. For example, some people get married for the wrong reasons. So they end up marrying this great person and end up divorcing them purely because of whatever. They're selfish and they're thinking about themselves, or I don't want to be married anymore. I don't like this, or whatever. So I do understand that marriage is risky. I understand that. Um, One of the things that this movement is don't marry, don't marry, I think is an evil movement because I think that a lot of these men that are saying this have been married multiple times. A lot of them are very bitter. They're not happy. And, it's like this. I'm not happy and I'm rowing in this boat and I'm not happy. So, hey, you guys jump in the boat with me. You know how they always say when somebody's not happy, they want everybody to be not happy. That's kind of a simplistic answer to that. Um, a lot of these guys have been terrible husbands. they've been selfish, abusive, um, just bad. And so they got divorced, or the woman divorced them. They probably thought that they were supposed to just leave their wife in poverty, or they're selfish, and then they get divorced, and then they turn bitter and they hate all women. So their thing is, let's have a movement where we teach men to never marry. Well, let me tell you, they are going to run you off of a cliff. That's what they're going to do, and it makes me sad that they are literally going to send you to hell. And the reason why I say that is because I have seen the other side of that. I've seen lots of men in nursing homes and things like that, and they don't have anybody to come visit them. They don't have no children, they don't have no wife, they have nobody. If you think your mama and your daddy is going to live forever, you're wrong. By the time you get 50, 60 years old, 70 years old, your family, your parents are going to be elderly, if not dying or dead. You may have brothers and sisters, but they have their own lives. They may not be living close to you where they can run and take care of you and be there. When you are young, you can run back and forth, you can be free, you can do all the things. When you get in your late 40s, you get in your early 50s, things change. You get older. You can't rip and run like you used to. You have no interest in ripping and running and everything like you used to. Um, all the different things that your parents used to have, all the different issues, that your parents have, you start to develop these issues. I'm sorry, I'm making some noise because I'm getting a charger. My computer is about to die on me. Um, all these issues that you have, all these issues that you have, you start having more physical issues. You don't stay young forever. Your body changes. Your body changes. So, what happens is, as your body is changing, you know, you're having more issues. You may have to go into the hospital, or you may have to start medication. You may have to do all kinds of things. So, they're telling you the wrong thing. You get 50, I'm telling you, once you hit 40, women are like this. I'm going to tell you a little secret if you haven't figured this out by now. Women want to get married in their 20s. Okay? Marriage, they are hitting they're in a situation where they want to be married in their 20s because they want to have families, they want to have children. Women know that they don't have forever to have babies, okay? We know this. So, we want to get married in our 20s. That's why we're hunting men down trying to get married in our 20s. Excuse me, in our 20s. Once we get in our 30s, we're really losing our minds because we know that at 35, doctors tell us that it's harder to get pregnant after the age of 35. So we don't want to wait that long. And some of those women that were career women and things like that, they're ready to settle down at 35 because, or before 35, because they have gotten their education, they started their career. Now they're looking for a mate. They want a mate. So they're on the prowl, you know, looking for men, looking for somebody to marry so they can have a family for real. So you get a lot of that on you. Once you hit 40, it stops. Okay? Once a man hits 40 years old, it stops. All that pressure to marry, a lot of it is gone. Um, when that man is dating a younger woman, she will pressure him for marriage. And if she's in her 20s and 30s and stuff, because she wants to get married and have a family. So he would have to, in his 40s, think about, okay, am I going to get married now and marry a younger woman and start a family in my 40s? So that's kind of late, you know? And if it's no, then it's like, okay, if I date a young woman, most of these young women eventually, like, they'll play with you for a while, but most of them really eventually want to get married. So if they take you seriously, they're going to look for marriage. So at 40, you have now put yourself in a situation where, okay, I'm 40 years old, I'm gonna start having a family with little children running around and things like that. And I'm telling you, at 40, it's not as easy as if you would have had children and gotten married in your 20s. It's different. So that means that, so that means that you are with this woman, you know, and it may or may not work out. And so um, then once you, after you get in your 40s, you have to deal with 40-year-old women. 40-year-old women are not running around trying to get married. 40-year-old women are not running around trying to have babies. 40-year-old women have already had their babies. They're raising their babies and they're not trying to have any more. A lot of 40-year-old women are single mothers. They had to do it by themselves, especially now, and or they're divorced women, and they've had to um, raise their children without the father in the home, and they're not trying to get married. So when you run into a 40-year-old woman, um, she's not trying to marry. Most of them. Some of them will marry if you are really, if they're more picky at 40. At 40 years old, you realize I am 40, I have kids, I've been raising my kids for 10 years, 20 years. I'm in my career, I'm got me a house, I got me a car, I'm good. Even if I am a single woman and never married, even if I'm divorced, I'm in a different mindset. So once you hit a 40-year-old woman and up, it's not as easy. 40-year-old women are more choosy about who they marry. Maybe I can say it that way. They're more selective because they have their education, or they're trying to get their education. They have a career. They're raising their children. They're in a different spot. They can't have children anymore. So they don't have that stress on them or that pressure on them to get married. So, and it's funny because there's this man, I was reading an article or reading a comment, and it's funny. This man said he's 50 or something, and he said trying to get, it was just funny. He said trying to find a 50-year-old woman to marry is a waste of time. He said all they want to do is stay with their cats. And that's true. When women get over 40, they have done a lot of times they've been married and divorced. A lot of times they have children that they're raising on their own, and they're really not interested in getting married unless you are like a really good guy, like a really, really good person. Then they'll say, okay, I want to get married. But a lot of them will just kind of have a boyfriend, they won't marry. So that's what men run into in their 40s. When in their 40s, they also start losing a lot of things. They start getting the pot belly, their stamina is not as much, their sexual things like their penis don't work as well as it used to. They start having these issues. So when you having these issues and you meet a young girl has young men that are in the prime of their lives that she can be with. And so they're telling all these men, oh, well, you never age. You always are, you never age. Women age after 30, they hit the wall. Men have a wall too. And they're lying to you. They're lying to you when they tell you that men don't have a wall. Men have a wall. If you think women have a wall, men have one too. A 40-year-old man trying to get with a young, let me put it this way. They act as if every 40-year-old man is like this hot commodity, and he's at the top of his looks and at the top of the, no, most men are, most people, let's just put it this way. Most people in the United States have a high school diploma. Okay. There's a percentage of people that have college degrees. There's a percentage of people that have master's degrees and above. And that percentage gets smaller and smaller. Most people have only a high school diploma. That's the first thing. Number two, so that tells you the amount of money that they make is not hundred thousands of dollars. It depends on what job. They may be lucky to get a certain job in which they're making a lot of money, but the average person is not making hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they're lying to you. Number two, when a 40-year-old man goes and meet a young woman, she's not looking for a 40-year-old man. A young woman is looking for a man her age, a man with the muscles, a man that's cute, a man that got all these tight bodies and he's walking around. She's looking for someone, a mate that's her age. She's not looking for a man that's 40 years old and 45 years old. So when they're telling you that stuff, they're lying to you. And so when a 45-year-old man go and meet a 20-year-old and he dates a 20-year-old woman, a young woman, a lot of those young women these days, and not all of them, but a lot of them are about money and they're just looking at your money. If you got a house, if you got a car, if you got these things, they looking to ride, they looking for a little change. They're looking for you to help them, especially if their baby fathers or some man ran off on them. They're looking for some help. That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for a 40-year-old-ish man. They're looking for a man their own age. That's common sense. Okay, so if a 40-year-old man go and he goes to a 40-year-old woman, a 40-year-old woman ain't really looking either for a 40-year-old man. I mean, like she wants a man her age. So yeah, she's looking for a 40-year-old man. But the problem with the 40-year-old woman is she's not in a big rush to get married or be in any, she may want a relationship, but usually a marriage, women at that age are more selective, as I said before. So they don't put up with stuff as maybe a young girl would. Things that women that are young may deal with, a 40-year-old woman have been there, done that, and they're not going to put up with it. So when the games start or the silliness start or all this, I don't know, control start or whatever, they drop out real quick. A woman in her 50s, a lot of them don't want to be bothered, and like the guy said, they want to stay at home with their cats and read a book. And a lot of them are like that. They've been married, divorced, they done the marriage thing, the wifey thing. They were left and had to fend and support their family, and so a lot of them are not interested. Some of them are interested in getting married, they are, but as I said before, 50-year-old women are selective because they are in their they're in their prime career. They have a house probably already. They're established. So they're not, if they get married, okay, that's nice. If they don't get married, okay, that's nice too. So they're not in a rush anymore to marry. And if they get married, like I'm saying, they're not trying to have a newborn baby. They're not trying to have a family. So the dynamics change. So the reason why I say pro marriage, especially for men and women, is because not only the statistics that say that it's good for men to marry. Let me give you an example. I had a father-in-law. My father-in-law just passed. Okay. The person that made the final decisions on him when he went into the hospital, he got sick. Then when they made a decision on what to do with him and all the medical decisions, you know who made the medical decisions about him? Not his mama. His mama's gone. Not his daddy. His daddy is gone. His kids, two of his children are deceased, and the other two, I guess, I don't know. Um, the who ended up stepping in and making those final decisions about him, burial, all this stuff was his ex-wife. Listen to me. Listen to me. Ex-wife. That's who made the decision, not his family, not his family members. His ex wife made those decisions. Okay? So if him and her were divorced and they didn't have a positive divorce, but they were divorced so long ago, both of them had become friends. Okay? He was lucky that he had a nice woman that cared enough about him that when he got sick, she was there to help him. But he has a sister. Where is his sister? He has two children. Where were they? And that's what I'm saying, why I say that I'm pro marriage. When you get to that age, these guys keep lying to you and telling you you're never going to age, you're never going to get older. Let me tell you, I have seen so many older men, they are chasing you down, trying to marry you because they see, oh, I'm aging. I'm not the first thing that young girls pick anymore, or they don't even pay attention to me. And if I do get a young woman, I gotta have some money in my pocket. All those men running around with these young girls, a lot of them have some good paying job, and best believe they funneling money to those young girls. Best believe that. And so the average guy, a lot of them don't have that. So when you get 40 and 50 years old or 60 years old and life hits you and you start having these aches and pains, you get in a make I mean, life happens. You may get in a car accident, you may get hurt, anything can happen. And so, sorry, my phone is ringing. And so anything can happen. And so you are in the situation, you know, then what? Um, what do you do? You know, it's not going to be so easy for you to get married. It's not going to be easy for you to get a relationship. So if you're sick and you're in the hospital, you have nobody to come visit you. You all your little friends, are they gonna come visit you? Yeah, they'll come visit you here and there, but are they gonna come every day and make sure you're okay and make sure nobody's taking advantage of you and making sure you're getting the food that you need and the necessary nutrition and the meds that you need? I mean, you have to think about that. You have to think about long term too. Being a man, I'm telling you, being a single woman is not easy. I wouldn't even say there's this movie I saw called I Care a Lot. You need to watch that movie. That movie scared me to death. It's called, I think, I Care a Lot. And it was about a woman that was, because she was an older woman and she was alone, and how this woman um, in the medical industry preyed on her. And I didn't even know that people could do this to you, but they can. And they deemed her incompetent. They took over everything. But she had a son that they didn't know, that the lady didn't know about. And it was a really good movie. But the movie is called I Care a Lot. You need to see that. That would scare you to death. But people think they're lying to you, and they're telling you that you're gonna, men don't hit the wall, women don't hit the wall. There is an age where we do age, and our looks change, and our bodies change, and we get to be more mature. And there's nothing wrong with aging. It's life. But at the same time, life changes, and the things that you could do and the things that you can do are different than when you were younger. And when they're lying to you, telling you that at 50 years old, you can just, oh, it's, you don't hit the wall, you can get young women, they're just lying to you. They're lying to you. And I'm a woman telling you this, and I wish, more men would step out there and be honest with you. They're lying. When you get in your 50s, your choices change. And there are men out there that can't even have erections anymore, and they have to use what is that, Viagra and things like that. Viagra does not work for everyone. Some people cannot use Viagra because they have high blood pressure and different things. Everyone can't just run and necessarily use Viagra. And so that X's out the women. That X's out a lot of women. A lot of women, when they find out you can't have an erection, they won't deal with you. And that's the truth. So, it's sad, it's depressing, but it's better to get married, have a companion, treat her good. And I always say, treat her well and find a companion that's going to treat you well, so that, you can end up having a halfway decent life. Life is not going to be perfect, but at least you can have someone that loves you and you love them, and you can raise your family. And when you get to those days where you're sick and you're not feeling well and you have all these issues, you have someone there to help you. You have someone there that's going to be at your bedside when you die. You're not going to be laying in no bed by yourself. She's going to be holding your hand as you slip away. So, anyway, um, I'll talk more about this later. If you like what I said, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. See you later. Bye.